Hello everyone. In this session, I am going to discuss about rails. Rails. We know that rails are a components of railway track which have been laid in railway track to give ease for the movement of trains. See, in previous session we have been discussed about what are the rails and what is the main purpose of rail. Okay, now in this session we are going to discuss about what are the different types of rails available. Understand or not? So based upon their cross section, the rails have been classified into three types. Double-headed rails, bull-headed rails, and next one is the flat-footed rails. Double-headed rails, bull-headed rails, and flat-footed rails. So we all already know that the cross-section of a rail. The cross-section of a rail contains three parts. First one, it contains certain head. After that, it contains a stem, and after that, it contains a bottom. That is called as foot. Okay, now so these are the three parts. These are the three components of a rail. Understand now? So the rail is made up of steel. Okay, now so you can see this is called as head, and the bottom portion is called as a foot, and the middle portion is called as web, or it is also sometimes may called as stem, STEM. Okay, so these are the three components of railway track, and these are the three parts of rail: head, web, and foot. Okay, now based upon the sizes and dimensions of head and foot, the rails have been classified into three types: double-headed rails, bull-headed rails, and flat-footed rails. Okay, now so if the thickness and thickness of head and foot both are same, and if width of head and foot both are same, in that case the rails are called as double-headed rails. It means for double-headed rails, the thickness and width of thickness and width of both for head and foot are same. So then that type of rails are called as double-headed rail. And coming to bull-headed rail, the thickness of head is thickness of head. It means this one. This is called as thickness, and this one is width. Here also, this is called as thickness, and this is called as width. Okay, now so coming to double-headed rail, the thickness and width both of head are somewhat higher than the foot. Understand? No? Thickness and width of head are greater than that of foot. So that kind of rails are called as bull-headed rails. And next one is the flat-footed rails. For coming to flat-footed rails, okay, now so the head thickness head understand now? It means the head of the thickness of head is higher than foot. Understand now? So like that. You see, for flat-footed rails, thickness of head head is higher and width of foot is higher. Understand or no? So if the thickness of head is higher than the thickness of foot and the width of foot is higher than the width of head, that kind of rails are called as flat footed rails. I will show you with figure. Come to double headed rail. Double headed rail is the section or is the cross section of a rail in which the thickness and width of head are equal to the thickness and width of foot. Understand or not? So you can see like stem, head, this is foot and this is the head. Understand? So the width and thickness of head and foot, if both are equal, that kind of rail is called as double-headed rail. And coming to the dimensions of double-headed rail, they are constant throughout the world. Understand? So through there the recommendations given by Indian standard also. So as per Bureau of Indian Standards, the dimensions of head and foot of the double-headed rail are considered as the width of the double-headed rail is 70 mm. Understand? Both in the case of head and in the case of foot, the width of the head and foot are 70 mm and the thicknesses of head and foot are also same. It is 44.5 mm. Understand? So the thickness of foot also same like 44.5 mm. Understand? And the entire height of the double-headed rail is 152.5 mm. This is the entire height of the double-headed rail. How much it is? 152.5 mm. So then coming to the height of the stem, how much it will be? Out of 152.5 mm, if we minus the 44.5 mm and 44.5 mm, how much it will come? It will come 63.5 mm. 63.5 mm. So this is the height of the Weber, height of the stem. Understand now? And coming to the, here you can see coming to the width of stem, it is 19 mm. Understand now? So the width of stem is 19 mm. So these are all the dimensions of double-headed rail. These are the constant throughout the India and also throughout the world. Understand now? So it means double-headed rail is nothing but the head and foot. Understand now? So if both having same thickness and width, understand? In that case, the rail section is called as double-headed rail. Understand now? And coming to double-headed rail, the double-headed rails are the rails which are used in the beginning. Understand now? So initially they were using, but nowadays the double-headed rails are not using. Understand now? Because you can say the shape of the double-headed rail is also in dumbbell shape. Dumbbell shape, and if you take the rail section, what is the main role of rail section in a railway track? The main role of rail section in a railway track is to bear the entire moving load and entire vibrations of the train. Understand or not? So that is the main role of the rail. But in case of double-headed rail, it means the dimensions of head and foot both are same. Understand or not? So you can see this is head, this is foot. The dimensions of both head and foot are same. So in that case, what will happen? If you take a rail section, the rail is should bear the entire load of a train. So in that case, the train can give moving load. It is a moving load and it is a heavy load. So in these two cases, initially the rail can undergo compression. Understand or not? So after getting compression, it is a continuous longitudinal section. Rail is. Understand or not? So in that case, Once the rail can undergo compression at its top portion, and at coming to its bottom portion, it will undergo tension. Understand or no? So if the dimension of head and foot both are same, understand or no? In that case, the head will undergo tension and the foot will undergo compression. Understand or no? So in that case, the stem is there. Understand or no? So the stem can undergo both compression and tension. Understand or no? So in that case, what will happen? If the dimensions of head and foot both are same, they cannot share the entire stress. Understand? And also they cannot. It means they cannot bear both the stresses like compression and tension. Understand? No. So in that case, the double-headed rails are the failure one. Okay. No? So initially the double-headed rails were used, but nowadays nowhere double-headed rails are using. Understand? No? So the idea behind using these double-headed rails was that when the head was worn, understand now, but in course of time, so the rail can be inverted and reused. But because the rails they can get the failure and always they were used to reuse again. It means they were sent to it means recycling process or remolding process. After doing some remolding, again they kept in the track as a rail. Understand? So always they should be remolding, and always they can undergo some failure, and then they should be remolding, and then they should be reused again. Okay, so this is the problem involving in the double-headed rail. So that's why double-headed rails nowhere they are using. But as time passed, the indentations were found. Understand? And in the lower table, which have been foot, and then so in case of such failure, if we decrease the width of foot and if we decrease the thickness of foot and increase the width of foot, so in that case that kind of rails have been given a good result. So okay, now so nowadays nowhere double-headed rails are using, and everywhere flat-footed rails were using. Understand now? So this is about double-headed rail. Okay now. So next one is the bull-headed rail. Okay now. Bull-headed rail, it is the rail in which, it means coming to the cross section of the bull-headed rail, the thickness and width of the head of the rail section are somewhat greater than the thickness and width of the foot of the section. Understand? So that kind of rail sections are called as bull-headed rail. You can see the diagram. This is the web of the rail, and this is the head of the rail. This is the foot of the rail. Head, and this is the foot, and this is the stem. Understand now? So this type of rail sections are called as bull-headed rail. Understand now? So coming to dimensions of bull-headed rail, its width, it means the width of the head is 68.7 mm, and coming to the width of the foot is 65.5 mm. And coming to the thickness, the head's thickness is 46 mm, the foot's thickness is 33 mm. Understand now? And coming to the total height of the rail section, it is taken as 65.5 mm. And coming to stem, its width is taken as 16.3 mm. 16.3 mm. And its height is taken as how much? You can calculate. 65.5 minus 46 minus 33. How much it will be? 65.5 mm. Understand or no? Sorry. its width is 65.5 mm. Thickness of the web is 65.5 mm and the total height of the rail is to be considered as 144.5 mm. So these are the dimensions of a bull-headed rail. Understand? Bull-headed rail is nothing but the head. It means the thickness and the width of the head are somewhat higher than the thickness and width of foot. Okay, now in that case, the rail section is considered as bull-headed rail, and in this type of rail, the head was made with a little thicker and stronger than the lower part by adding more metal to it. Okay, now so that it can withstand the stresses. Okay, but it can also withstand the compression stresses, but it was failure in the withstand of tensile stresses. Okay, now so this is about bull-headed rail, and one more type of rail is there. It is flat-footed rail. Okay, now flat-footed rail. It is the section of a rail in which the width of foot is somewhat higher than the width of head, and the thickness of head is somewhat higher than the thickness of foot. Understand? So that kind of rail sections are considered as flat-footed rails. Coming to its dimensions, you can see here this is the foot, this is the stem, this is the head. Okay, now, so this is the flat-footed rail, and nowadays everywhere in India we are using only flat-footed rails. Not only in India, everywhere of the world flat-footed rails are only using. Okay, now coming to the dimensions of flat-footed rails, you can see the thickness of foot is 20.6 mm, and coming to the width of foot, it is 136.5 mm. And coming to the width of head, it is 66.7 mm. And coming to the thickness of head, it is 43.7 mm. Understand now? And coming to the thickness of stem, the thickness of stem is taken as 78.6 mm. Okay, so then what will be the total height of the rail? It will be what will be 43.7 plus 78.6 plus 20.6. It will be 142.9. 142.9 mm. So this is the dimensions of flat-footed rail. Flat-footed rail is nothing but if the width is higher than the foot, width of foot is higher than the width of head, and the thickness of head is higher than the thickness of foot. In that case, this section of rail is considered as flat-footed rail, and these rails are using nowadays everywhere. And the another name of flat-footed rails is Vignol's rails. Understand now? Vignol's rail. It is the another name of flat-footed rail. And initially, the flat-footed rails were fixed to the sleepers directly, and no chase and keys were required. But nowadays, chase and keys are using, but flat-footed rails are convenient in the sense of fitting, and also they can bear the stresses, both the stresses efficiently. They can bear both the compression stress and tensile stress. Both the stresses they can bear with efficiency. Understand? And also they can bear a huge amount of load, and they can bear a huge amount of stress, and they can transfer huge amount of load and stress to the sleepers with age and with it means they found as successive than bull-headed rails and double-headed rails. Understand? So due to that, the train loads and the problems arose which will lead to steel bearing plates between the sleeper and the rail. Understand? So at rail joints and other important places, these are the rails which are most commonly used in India. Understand? So this is about the different sections of rails. Understand? And one more thing we should know that coming to rails, the rails may be made up of steel and cast iron, and most of the cases steel rails are only using, cast iron rails are not used, and the only problem with rails is they are metallic in nature and they can easily react with moisture in atmosphere and some gases in atmosphere or some elements of atmosphere, and they can get corroded easily. Corrosion is only the problem with the steel or cast iron rails. And the next topic is sleepers. If you take a railway track like this, these two are the rails and the sleepers are provided just across the ballast, or these sleepers are provided transverse to the rails. Understand or not? So you can see the sleepers are members generally laid transverse to the rails, on which the rails are supported and fixed to transfer the loads from the rails to the ballast and then subgrade. Understand or not? So it means the main role of sleepers in the railway track is get the load or get the load from rails and transfer that load to the ballast. So this is the main role of sleepers in railway track. Understand or not? So and these sleepers especially they are made up of RCC or concrete. Understand or not? It means these sleepers is generally made up of reinforced cement concrete and pre-stressed concrete. In our India, mostly we are using pre-stressed concrete only, pre-stressed concrete sleepers only. And coming to the main functions of sleepers, in a railway track, sleepers perform so many functions. Understand? No? Instead of transferring the load, because they are we are using RCC as or pre-stressed concrete sleepers. Understand? No? So these sleepers are used to hold the entire stresses developed within the rails. Understand or not? It means the sleepers are used to hold the rails at proper gauge in all situations, that is exact gauge distance. Understand or not? So it means the sleepers are used especially to maintain proper gauge throughout the length of the railway track. And the sleepers are also used to support the rails with effectively, firmly. Understand? And also with, they should contain some certain stiffness. Understand? And the sleepers are used to distribute the load transmitted through the rails over large area of the ballast underneath or to the bridge girders, as the case they may be. And the sleepers are used to hold the rails to proper level in turnouts and crossovers, and at 1 in 20 inward slope along straight tracks. And also the sleepers are used to provide elastic medium between rails and ballast, and also to observe the vibrations caused due to moving axial loads. And also the sleepers are used to maintain proper alignment and also to maintain the proper gauge distance. Understand? And coming to curves, it means in curved section of the railway track, the sleepers can maintain proper cant. Understand? So they maintain proper cant in case of curves or in case of super elevation. Okay, so this is about the sleepers, and mostly for making sleepers concrete will be used, and instead of concrete in some places wood or timber may be used. Understand? And in some cases cast iron or steel sleepers also may be used. Understand? So but coming to all these type of sleepers, pre-stressed concrete sleepers are the most efficient and most economic, and they can give large strength to the track. Understand? So that's why everywhere in the world nowadays only pre-stressed concrete sleepers are using. Thank you guys for listening the class. Okay, na? So in next class we will discuss about what are the different types of sleepers will be used, and what are the different materials will be used for ballast. These two things we will discuss in next class.